right, welcome back, guys, to That's Offsides. Here with my co-hosts, el argentino, Homiee, and el
Vamos.
chileno, and I'm the Colombian in the corner, your host Juan. And yeah, man, we back to talk some footy. It's the first week of international break, and fellas, we're officially underway for the race to make it to the 2026 World Cup. For some teams, it's kind of a given that they're going to be there. For some other teams, like Chileno, you and I, it's going to be just making it to the stage. So yeah, really exciting stuff. Always the start of a new journey is always exciting. But yeah, how you guys doing today, man?
I'm chilling, man. I had a nice little run earlier today. Got back home. Tired as hell. I'm ready to talk some footy.
I had a long day at work. Got back from the gym. Did some lifting. Then when I saw the message, "Hey, rep your national teams," you gotta rep. Gotta rep it all day, baby. All day rep. Mwah.
Hell yeah, I know we got Chileno with the Chile gear. I know Homie's rocking the 2022 World Cup Argentina jersey, and y'all don't know about what I'm rocking, man. This the 2001 Copa America. Colombia won their first Copa America with this jersey. Something really special to me. It was actually given to me when I was only 5 years old, and I ended up growing exactly into it. Wish they would have given me a bit of a bigger size. Maybe I would have been 6 feet if that would have happened. But nevertheless, we made it. We here, and yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into some footy. And like always, we're gonna start over in England with the Premier League. And I mean, fellas, let's start with the most important game of the weekend: Arsenal versus Man United. An incredible match. It was filled with a lot of controversy, a lot of takes back and forth. I mean, what do you guys think of this one? We'll start with Chile.
Um, I'll start off by saying that when I got to work today, I saw one of my coworkers. He's a big Man United fan, and I just look at him and I go, like that. But I couldn't really talk because my team didn't do shit either. But no, I mean the game overall was super exciting at the first couple. Rashford had a banger for a goal in the 26th minute, and overall the play. So many controversial calls in this game. A penalty get taken back, offsides that would have given Man United the lead, and then costly substitutions for Man United, putting in Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans. We'll see what happens there.
What about you, homie?
It was a very fun game to watch, definitely. Just two titans, but used to be the titan of winning the Premier League, the FA Cup finals. These were the two teams that would meet usually back in the 2000s, and then of course it's fallen off, but they're coming back up, and it was again still always a fun game between Arsenal and Man United.
Yeah, man. And I mean, Chileno kind of touched on it with a bit of the controversy that was going on with this game. I think the first one, I think we'll go in chronological order here. You guys correct me if I'm wrong here. But let's start with the penalty. The first penalty, it gets taken back. I would say, even though there was controversy and a lot of talk over this play, I would say it's the least controversial play of the entire match. Kai Havertz, I mean, you see it in real time. The defender and Casemiro just going to Kai Havertz full speed. He falls on the ground, and you just think, I mean, the guy just got run over. I mean, clear penalty. I'm saying it's a penalty. There's no way they can overturn this. But then you look at the replay, and for as much as sometimes I hate the VAR, and this match shows some reasons why I hate the VAR. We'll get into that a little bit later. If the VAR wasn't there, a clear flop by Kai Havertz would have been called a penalty. Arsenal would have taken the lead. It would have been an entirely different game from that point moving forward. But we look at the replay, and something that at actual game speed looked like a clear penalty, we see that it's a clear dive. So for that, in my opinion, I think that the referees in this case did a great job. I know on this show we talk a lot of shit about the referees, but here I'm going to give them their props where props is due. A great call by the refs. That was a clear dive by Havertz. What do you guys think about that one?
Well, the penalty came a little later in the game. Actually, came like in the sixth, I think it was for the VAR review. But yeah, I think it was a perfect call. The fact that it was given a penalty in the first place against a tough angle. I don't know where the ref was watching the play. I guess from a certain angle, it may look like it at first. And of course, once you look at the VAR, which is meant to be there to review those mistakes, just in case, to review those incidents, just in case to be reviewed and should be overturned. So that's exactly why we have it. And it made a good call. It was a slight contact by Lumbasaka or Casemiro, can't remember Havertz, but it was very slight. Should have never been a penalty, and it was a good way to overturn it. So I'm glad that didn't get robbed at least.
Yep. The next point, which I wouldn't say it's controversial, I would say this is more of a talking point and something that everybody feels the same way about. Kai Havertz and Anthony might be the worst players on the offensive side of the ball in the entire Premier League. It's actually comical, some of the shit that happens with these players. There was one play where Kai Havertz gets across off a loose ball and he finds himself directly with the ball in the small box, in the 6-yard box. He finds himself, him, the ball, the keeper. And instead of, he could have done anything, but instead he kind of just like flicks it to the side, and it's not strong enough to be a shot, but it's too strong to be a pass to Saka, who was standing right there, which means that like even if he hit it like shit, usually like it would have been in position for Saka to at least put his foot in there, make something out of it. But no, it was too shit to be a shot, and it was too shit to be a pass. So I mean, Kai Havertz, I'm sorry to throw more dirt on Chelsea, Chileno, but I mean, not even dirt. I mean, this is something that you guys should get props for. You guys sold Kai Havertz for 80 million pounds, which is over $100 million, if I'm not mistaken. You guys correct me. You guys can.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I mean, I just got to call it how it is. These Kai Havertz should not have a spot in the Premier League. And Anthony is just a terrorist to his club. It's actually insane the way that Ten Hag still gives him a starting spot. And yeah, man, I feel very strongly about it. Anthony cost 100 million, for those who didn't know, and just two complete flops, man. Out of the entire spending spree that's happened in the last year or two, this has been the worst signings I've ever seen.
I agree.
I think it makes it worse that even with the Havertz situation, he tried to take a shot at goal, completely missed the ball, and then did the flick on whatever he tried to do with his opposite foot. And it was just a weird situation. It was a free goal with anyone else. If it was anyone else on that Arsenal attack, Odegaard, Martinelli, Bukayo, anyone else in that situation probably puts that straight to the back of the net. Havertz completely missed the ball. I can't even defend it. I'm one of the people that thought Havertz may play better with Arsenal. Maybe he'll get back into some of his old form. The guy who won the Champions League final for Chelsea, who scored the goal for Chelsea. I thought maybe we'll see that again, but it doesn't really look like it. He just shot for confidence right now.
It's him showing the same. So he started off okay at Chelsea, and then you saw his actual style of play, and he's kind of like, I would compare him to kind of like Cody Gakpo, where they don't know where to put him. You put him up front, do you put him in the middle, do you put him right behind? So they don't know where to play Kai Havertz, and it's kind of like, okay, we'll just not play him at all. That's what the Man United or Arsenal need to do, is just they've got better players than Kai Havertz that they can put in those positions.
I completely agree with that, and we'll move on to the next point because
I mean, you could literally Fabio Vieira, I think, took Havertz's spot and looked 20 million times better.
Mm-hmm.
And he's 23 years old. He's the same age as Havertz in that league.
Homie, we could put you in there and you'd look better. Like Kai Havertz it's just absolutely wild what we see here. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. The next play, which again, this one not controversial, but I found it pretty funny. So not funny that Licha Martinez got injured, but what happened right after was really comical. So after Licha Martinez gets injured and he's walking off the field, Man United had no more defenders, so they had to resort then to no other than Man United, an English team legend, Harry Maguire. And as soon as that was announced, the entire Emirates started clapping like if Cristiano Ronaldo showed up, like if 2012 Messi had showed up to go in for their team. But no, it was Harry Maguire, and everybody and their mother knew as soon as that happened that it was only a matter of time. And what do you know? Next up, we find ourselves in the controversial play. So I think it's Eriksen that puts a ball through to Garnacho, who goes, gets himself free in a beautiful fashion, finds himself one-on-one versus the keeper, takes him on, finishes. He ruins the entire day for Arsenal. Ruined the day for me because I had money on Arsenal. And at that point, I'm like, oh my god, there has to be a foul. It has to be an offside something. But I mean, I couldn't deny it. It was a beautiful play, and I guess this might be the call of the season. Man United and Man United reporters have said that it's absolute blasphemy that it was even called offsides. Arsenal side is saying that it's absolutely clear, and this is why the VAR is so good at their job. Before I say anything about it, I want to know what you guys think. We'll start off with Homiee.
It's a game of centimeters. That's what football is. It's a game of centimeters. Garnacho literally had a toe offside. He was just that little bit. I think it was clear once the VAR took over, once the VAR would show you the exact spot, and it was a great through ball from I think it was Casemiro who put in the through ball. It was a great through ball right into back. Garnacho, a great position to get himself centrally when you coming from the wide angle, as Hoyland was holding up the play in the middle, and it was just super unfortunate. I thought I was celebrating for Garnacho as an Argentinian, as he's representing Argentina. I was so excited for him to get the season started after a pretty horrid start for him, but unfortunate.
How about you, Chileno?
I mean, that's like Homiee was saying. That's why you have the VAR. I mean, this much. I mean, if you look at the line from the replay, I mean, it's literally like a freaking toenail, like Homiee was talking about, literally a toenail. But that's what happens, offside. And as soon as you knew that offside was called, if you were an Arsenal fan, in the back of your mind, you're going, we're about to win this game right now. You knew it was going to happen, and you saw the end result.
So before I even move on, I'm asking you guys a question, and you just reply to me with a yes or a no. And you guys both said the same thing. It was like centimeters. Do you think that position Garnacho had, that offsides, gave him a clear advantage to score that goal? Yes or no?
What do you mean by that? Like,
because the offside was created to prevent pretty much cherry picking of offensive players gaining a clear advantage on the defender by moving pretty much offside, like ahead past the last man. Do you think that little? I mean, it was centimeters. We all agree that it was centimeters. Do you think that gives Garnacho a clear advantage over the defenders? Simple yes.
No run. Any
yes.
run like that is going to give a clear advantage.
Yeah, I think yes.
If he was slightly slower, if he was just literally slightly slower, he's onside. He threw on goal.
So, and this is what I'll say about it. In any date from 2018 to the 1800s, the Kai Havertz flop is a penalty. Any play from 2018 to the 1800s is a goal for Garnacho, and it's not offsides. I'm all for the VAR for a play like Kai Havertz, where something that looked very real, when you actually slow it down and actually like take off the layers, was very fake, and something that was pretty much like, it was clear that it was the wrong call at that time. For someone like Garnacho, and I got to take my bet out of it because I had money on Arsenal, and this call was the reason I won that bet. But if I got to take myself out of it, and if it's just centimeters, in my opinion, I don't think it gives Garnacho a clear advantage. And I spoke about it a few weeks ago on this show, and I said, whenever an offsides is called and it's like millimeters away, it's like the hair, it's like the toenail of the player that's ahead, it shouldn't be called offsides. And I forgot which one of you guys agree with me, if not both, but at least one of you guys agree with me. And that's a take I feel very strongly about. I think that's something that, if it's there's something in American football that's a call is made how it's made, and it can get overturned. But the only way it can get overturned if there's clear evidence that the call was the wrong call. If it's not clear evidence, if it's down to millimeters, if it's not clear to the human eye, we shouldn't have to go down to pixels to find where this should have been called. If it's not clear, the call should have stand as is. In my opinion, that should have been a garnacho.
So the thing with that, I say offsides is offsides. With everyone knows the rules. If you're slightly ahead of the last man, you're offsides. But the rule that I would like to change about offsides is that your whole body has to be past the last man, not just a little bit of it. Like you can have like moving forward already, and your hat, like maybe your top half of your body, because you're leaning forward to run, is past the last man, but your legs aren't under you or whatever, something like that. I don't like how the offside rule is now. That just any part of your body is across, like anything eligible to touch the ball. But I understand why, because you don't want that clear advantage, you don't want that attacking, but it's hard. It's such a gray area with offsides. I think it can even depend on the VAR ref or the referee in that game. You don't know. Maybe the opinion changed throughout any game.
Yep. And that call was so close that we accepted the call as is. Like I'm not gonna argue like it's offside, whatever. But if the ref would have gone to the VAR and would have called it onside, even there would have still been the same argument. But at the end of the day, I think all three of us would have came in here and we would have said, I mean, yeah, that's onside. I mean, we're not gonna get down to that's how close the call was. And that's why I say, not to go one way or the other, if they would have called it offside off rip, too close to call, leave it as is. If they called it a goal off rip, too close to call, leave it as is. But all right, everyone got their takes off on that. That's a game that we felt very passionate about. Wanted to get into a bit of the mud of this game. We obviously know the golazo that Garnacho scored, how Odegaard came right back and Arsenal tied up that game. And after everything that we talked about, it only took one counter, and Arsenal the whole time they just needed one counter where they could finish it. They got that one counter. And not even off the counter, that was the finisher, but off a corner. They just needed one time for Declan Rice or one other players to get through. They managed to get that advantage, and from that time on, Man United were going to get desperate, and of one corner, they get the dagger. So Arsenal 3, Man United 1. The way the table's looking right now, Arsenal's pushing up to 5th place with 10 points, tied with Tottenham, Liverpool, and West Ham. We're going to run quickly over the next few games here in the Premier League. We have Man City beat up on Fulham. Fulham actually started winning. They started off losing, but they tied up this game, and then they just got absolutely mollywopped by Erling Haaland and company. Brighton won 3-1 versus Newcastle. Really surprising score here. I don't know if any of you guys watched it, but for me, this was something I didn't expect. Evan Ferguson, only 18 years old, a hat-trick, a 9.7 rating on FOTMob. Absolute monster of a performance, and he was the most foul player in the game, meaning that they had no stopping him besides literally bring him to the ground. Do any of you guys have any takes about this game?
Brighton's good. I'm just saying, Brighton's good.
Evan Ferguson is a god. Like, I think the system that Brighton has with Totoma, João Pedro, and Solly March, they're able to feed such a striker who could finish anything, like Evan Ferguson just did, against one of the top defensive teams from last season. Well, they're injured, a little injured, but he's still literally in his. I think it was a debut game a debut hat trick for him in the Premier League is still incredible.
I'm talking about all these youngsters that are playing not only in Premier League, but you got La Liga, Bundesliga. I mean, all these young guys, 16, 17, 18-year-old guys that are just we're seeing stars develop at such a young age that I think it's honestly it's fantastic for the sport of football that we get to see these guys that we're like, oh, we can live I see someone like the 16-year-old and going, if I was 16, I wanted to be that good and all that, or someone that's 18 playing on your team that's scoring a hat trick for you. I mean, it's moments like that just make these players turn out to be outstanding guys.
Yeah, and now with the era of Ronaldo and Messi coming to an end, I think football needs these players more than ever. Moving on to the next games, Chileno, we're going to give you a pass this week. Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest, 1-0. Moving on to the next game, Brentford versus Bournemouth, they tied 2-2. Then Sheffield United versus Everton, they also tied 2-2. And we're going to cover this game just slightly for my friend Taze here. So Burnley actually started off taking the lead on Tottenham. They were at home with a goal from Ben Foster, but a hat trick from Heung-min Son, an absolute cannon from Romero, and another goal from James Maddison. I mean, man, talking about some of the best signings of the season, James Maddison absolutely up there with the loss of Harry Kane. I mean, Tottenham fans are not even feeling it because it's Maddison mania over in London. Did any of you guys get a chance to catch this game? Maybe hear about it?
I was hearing about it because I heard Guti scored and I was going crazy and I saw the replay. Absolute missile of a goal from Guti.
Yep.
And another thing, a funny thing I want to just mention, I have to get on Chelsea. I'm sorry, Chileno. I heard a rumor that Chelsea did not want to sign James Maddison is because they're only trying to sign players 24 or younger when James Maddison was 25. I don't know if it's true or not, but if it's true, it'd be really fun.
I'm telling you, it probably is true because Chelsea ownership, Todd Bowley, we were talking about shit. He is if you look up the definition of shit, it's a picture of his face. I'm telling you. I love my club to death, but they drive me insane. Like, I have not worn my Chelsea shirt on purpose because they piss me off so much. I still have my flag in my office, and I still get shit for it all the time when kids come in and going, oh, you're a Chelsea fan? I'm sorry. But I honestly, people are going, Chelsea's going to get relegated. At this point, I might believe it. I might actually believe that Chelsea could get relegated this year. They're absolute garbage.
I mean, it's tough when you're going up against, a team like, I would say, Brighton or, I mean, West Ham already gave it to you, so I can't even say West Ham, but like that. And, not even 5 years ago, I would say 2-3 years ago, you're like, all right, done for Chelsea, and you just keep it moving. Now you're like, I don't know, this could go any which way. But anywho, we tried to give you a break there, Homiee
didn't work out.
Just
okay.
I wanted to mention it.
All right, moving on to Sunday's games, we have Liverpool versus Aston Villa. Liverpool won 3-0 with goals from Szoboszlai, who another monster signing this offseason. That Liverpool midfield is just amazing. Matty Cash, who had an incredible game last week, ended up with an own goal, and he got a bit out of his head there. Ended up with a yellow card. Was a bit out of it, but hopefully he bounces back. And then Mo Salah finished it off in the 55th minute to make it 3-0.
Darwin should have had like a hat trick in this game. He missed so many big chances.
Yeah. If it weren't for, I'm not even gonna mention. I'm feeling like a nice guy today.
Sure.
Until we start talking about international play, then he can release it.
Yeah. But yeah, all right. So that was the English League. Going over to
hold up.
What's up?
My Hammers.
Oh yeah.
Just completely ignored us. We were the first team to walk into Kenilworth and absolutely own those kennel-loving Luton Town fans. Edson Alvarez is him. James Ward-Prowse is him. Jarrett Bowen is him. Kudus played 3 minutes and he's him. We're winning the fucking Premier League and we're winning the Europa League.
I can't even say that's offsides because they are in 4th place.
We're going to the Champions League.
You beat Luton Town. We beat Luton Town.
We beat you.
Exactly. So it's not that big a deal.
No.
Hey, we still winning the Premier League, baby. Tie. We beat Brighton. We literally beat Brighton. Shut up.
West Ham right now is in 2nd place, side with Spurs, Liverpool, and Arsenal. They have 9 goals, 4 against. And I mean, yeah, usually I would say that's way offsides. You would have been deep in the net, but you are in the conversation for now. So enjoy it while you can. Let's take the plane over to Spain. We got to go over and start with Real Madrid because, my goodness, man, it feels like every week we've mentioned it, and I just got to mention it again. There's this awesome Spanish TikToker that makes like poetic type videos, and he made one video where it was Jude Bellingham and Cristiano Ronaldo, and he was saying, "Your eyes remind me of his," and I was like, damn, bro, because the videos that he used, it was both of them celebrating goal, both of them celebrating in a very, very similar fashion. And I mean, you're talking about a Real Madrid team has 4 wins, but at least one could have been a loss, and at least 2 of them could have been ties. So you're talking about a mid-table team that a 20-year-old is putting over the hump by himself. So I mean, Chileno, what do you think about what's happening over in Madrid, and can they keep it up here with Jude Bellingham?
As long as Jude Bellingham is on your team, yes. As long as he's on your team, they're gonna play outstanding. They're gonna win. It's the era of Jude. Hey Jude, that Queen song. So it's Jude, baby. It's Jude time.
Dude, I have, as a Barca fan, I have to stand up every time and applaud. This guy has Real Madrid on his back, and he's not struggling with the weight. He is up top, strong, and standing with the whole team on his back. He is there without Vinicius, with Rodrigo kind of having a mid-start to the season. He's still been okay, though. But, dude, I don't know how Real Madrid do it. They just build the best midfield over and over. They lose Casemiro. They replace him with Camavinga and Tchouaméni. And Cruz doesn't even have to play anymore. He can, play 10 minutes, make his impact, and boom, they don't need him anymore. Modric looks like he's still 25 playing with these kids. And I still worry defensively for Real Madrid because Kepa's still in goal, kind of a house still starts. Rudiger and Alaba, they're still great. And Fran Garcia, I think he really struggled in this game, if you can prove me wrong. But first half, Real Madrid didn't look all that amazing, but I'm glad second half they got to get it together. Can y'all just drop points, please? Please do it.
As long as Jude's on their team, it's not going to happen.
God, dude.
The guy is just absolutely crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. But I mean, yeah, we've raved enough about Jude. I mean, nothing much more we can say than, I mean, I thought after, the flame for Modric and Kroos was kind of going out, I thought it was going to take a really long time for me to say something like that again. And to see a player like that come in while they're still on the field is just, I feel blessed. Couldn't ask for more. So let's move on quickly to the Barcelona game before we get into the Champions League draw and the international break. So, Homiee, run us through it.
It was mixed feelings again that we still lack. Hopefully with the addition of both Giles, Cancelo, and Felix, moving forward when they get in the starting lineup, we can look more threatening in attack, but still we struggle. We started the game, I think we scored our first corner goal in, forever. We haven't scored a corner goal in a while that I can't remember. But Jules Koundé got a header, put it in the back of the net very early on actually not early on. It was, late in the first half. I think it was, the 45th minute, almost halftime already. And then all of a sudden, we want to stop playing, stop defending for a few minutes. And Avila scores in the 76th against us. I'm like, oh, we're going to drop more points. We're going to get another draw. And then luckily, we win a penalty. I forgot who won the penalty, but I know Lewandowski slotted it home 2-1. We dominate possession. We get our shots away. We get them on target, but we just can't put them away. Hopefully, the addition of Joao Felix with his inverted runs of playing at the right flank, on the right back, instead of Sadi Roberto, who I absolutely despise starting for us. Loved him years ago when he was saving us against PSG and running away from Real Madrid defenders. But anywhere else, now he's just terrible. And then with Joao Felix helping us be more creative, because I feel like he can bring creativity. I'll still mix on bringing in Joao Felix for Barca, but now he's here, so I kind of have to live with it.
I would have loved for him to stay with Chelsea, but
I don't know why Chelsea fans love Joao Felix so much. I don't see anything there.
It was low-key fun to watch at Chelsea.
it's big. He created opportunities. I mean, Enzo's way better than him. And I'm very happy to have Enzo on the team. As much as me, the Chilean, saying I'm very happy to have Argentinian on my team. But Enzo is one of those guys that we paid, the whole open blank checkbook for him. But I was a Joao Felix fan. I was not a Joao Felix fan at the beginning, but now that he's playing, I think he's going to do outstanding things for Barcelona. I really do.
Yeah, and Jamal had an off game today. He didn't look like his best. Definitely not. He's still 16, so I'm hoping we don't wear him out. We ease him in. We don't have to keep starting him. He's still young. I want him to develop, not get stunted, and stay healthy. That's the most important part because we're constantly injured. We don't have Pedri right now. We don't have Raujo right now as well. So, and then I don't know if you all saw the picture going around of Gavi. He'd get staples in his ear, and he was wearing a Czech, Petr Cech's helmet.
Yeah.
At Spain training today or the other day, but it was funny. But I'm glad we got the win at least. And one thing, passing to Barcelona, I want to just talk about one thing. Sergio Ramos, welcome back to La Liga. I hope, and welcome Mason Greenwood, I guess. I hope Sergio Ramos puts him right in his fucking balls.
Jesus. All right. So yeah, moving past that, one thing that Xavi has been mentioning for a few years, and I thought at first he was kind of over the top, and some Barcelona coaches have mentioned this too, how La Liga teams pretty much resort to just parking the bus and then making Brexit tackles all game to make players either one, if they try moving past you, they're gonna fucking chop their legs off, or two, your players don't want to get their legs chopped off and they're too scared to do something bold. It's starting. I'm starting to see it more, and it's starting to become more clear. And it's become more clear now that La Liga has become so top heavy, because it feels that every team outside of obviously Madrid, Barcelona, big gap. I would put Atleti, Real Betis, Real Sociedad, big gap. The rest. So you're talking about 5-6 teams, and the rest is just mid. You're talking about mid-table teams that will be in the Premier League, mid-table teams in the Italian league as well. The quality of play is not there, and it's resorting to really ugly football, and it's dangerous because if these teams are just going to resort to hurting our star players, the game is going to hurt itself. You're hurting the ratings for your own league. You're hurting the money that's coming into your club. And if your club can't get enough money, they can't get enough players, and then they have to resort to signing really bad people like Mason Greenwood. Anywho,
that's why they want to make super leagues.
And they were right, man. And they were right. And they called Fiorentino a villain. And I was one of those people, even though I'm a Madrid fan. But look what's happening with Saudi. And if a lot more players will be in Europe right now, including a lot of your favorite stars that are right now. Some of them still got a lot of gas left, and they're in Saudi. None of that would have happened if the Super League would have come through. We would have had a lot more great football, a lot more Real Madrid versus Barca, Real Madrid versus Milan, Barcelona versus Juventus, all that. But anywho, let's move on to this is like Christmas for footy freaks. So
Mm-hmm.
the UCL draw happened over this past weekend, and man, was there a lot of takes. There was cupcake groups, there was tough groups, there was possibly the most deadly group that's ever been put together in UCL history or any competition history, to be fair. And we're gonna get into everything. So, all right, while I pull up the groups here,
I got them. I got them pulled up. If you, I
all
can
right,
pull them
so
up. You
let's
ready?
get into Group A, homie. Run us through
All
it
right.
real quick.
All right. Group A. So we have Group A: Bayern Munich, Manchester United, FC Copenhagen, and Galatasaray.
So this one started off when you get the first two draws, you get Bayern, you get Man United, and you're like, whoa, we're hot off rip. But then the next two teams, Galatasaray, Copenhagen, not the most firepower of all time. I mean, homie, what do you think of this group?
It's going to be very. I think Man United and Bayern will take care of business. Bayern probably top the group. Probably won't lose a group game again. And it's going to be a fight for third place, basically, for the Europa League spot. Galatasaray has a lot of old stars that I love that are playing for them now, so I'll probably put them in for third place, and then Copenhagen to get knocked out of Europe. How about you, Chileno?
Nah, I agree. No, I mean, you look at Bayern, Man United, probably Bayern 1, Man U 2, and then no, Copenhagen has no chance. They're done.
All right, so yeah, let's not waste too much time on them. I mean, pretty much the same from me, to be honest. You guys said everything that needed to be said. Group B, we have Arsenal, Lens, PSV, Sevilla. This is a wonky group, a weird group, given that Arsenal should take care of business. Lens, I would say it's between Sevilla and Lens, but Lens started off in League One very bad. I don't know if they won this past weekend, but they started off all losses. So they're still all losses up in League One, not looking good. So that gives Sevilla a bit of a spot. Sevilla has been looking a little shaky, but I think they got to win this past weekend. For me, I would say this one goes Arsenal, Sevilla, PSV third, and Lens fall off.
Yep.
In a bad.
I perfectly agree.
Yep.
And
Yep.
League On is crazy right now. Lens and Leon are bottom two with 0 wins, 1 draw, 3 losses. Just to let y'all know. Stupid what's going on.
Yeah. So, all right, Group C. This is another one that we're gonna go through pretty quickly. We have Real Madrid, Napoli, Union Berlin, and Braga. Homie, you remember Union Berlin from last season? This was our darling of last season.
Our beloved.
Yeah, we rooted for this team. They kind of flamed out at the end, but they did just enough to get into the Champions League. Man, what a tough group for them to get into. For this one, Napoli have started off really good. I doubt they're able to be as hot as they were last season in Serie A. But for this one, I got Madrid topping the group, Napoli coming in second. Then I got Union Berlin squeezing in for an Europa League run, and then Braga up in fourth.
Yep. That was
I
my prediction.
unfortunately I will say Braga come third. I think Union Berlin are just gonna be too focused on Bundesliga and maybe they're not ready for the big show, like the Champions League.
That's a bold take, definitely.
And Braga, hey,
It's not a bad
sleep
team.
on them. Stay sleeping.
Not a bad team at all.
Take on that.
I like that team, but I'm gonna go down with this shit. I'm gonna go down with it. I'm gonna go down with it.
I'm rooting for Union Berlin. I hope they steal a point off Napoli and maybe challenge for second.
I wouldn't be mad if they tied at the Bernabeu. I'm gonna keep it about just because like story. I love their story.
Yeah, they're fun.
Them winning there is pushing it, but a tie wouldn't be mad at it. It's a good stage. Anyhow, Group D: Benfica, Inter, Real Sociedad, Salzburg. This one is a more interesting group than a lot of people give it. Given that, like, I would say Benfica, Inter, and Real Sociedad in their respective leagues are kind of in the same level. You're talking about them in the same spot. I would say Benfica is a little bit more dominant in Portugal. How do you guys got this one running through? Chileno, we'll start off with you.
Inter, Benfica, Sociedad, Salzburg.
I have Inter, Real Sociedad, Benfica, Salzburg.
Wow.
All right.
Benfica are cursed in the Champions League, yes, and that's what a run last year, but they're kind of cursed. I backed them to drop into Europa League.
So they are cursed, but they were cursed in the knockout stage last year. In the group stage was where your boy made a name of it for himself before going into the World Cup. Talking about Enzo Fernandez. So for this one, I got Benfica topping the group. Then I got Inter. I got Real Sociedad coming into the Europa League just because I mean Spanish teams in the Champions League never do that well. And then Salzburg at fourth, they're put in a tough spot. All right.
Hey, watch out for Salzburg. I have some talent. I love some talent they have. Pavlovic and Karim Konate. Both of them are fun players to watch. Pavlovic is a center back. Karim Konate is their top goal scorer right now at striker. So I think both of them will eventually get into the Premier League or a big club eventually. But keep an eye on them. They're fun players.
There you got the scoop from Homiee. Definitely. All right. So moving on to Group E, we got Atletico Madrid, Celtic, Feyenoord, and Lazio. This one is one of those kind of cupcake groups. For this one, we'll start off with Homiee. How do you got this one running through?
Atleti, Lazio, Celtic, Feyenoord.
Wow, you got Celtic in front of Feyenoord. So, all right. Chileno, go ahead.
It's crazy because I actually had Atletico, Celtic, Lazio. Yeah.
Oh,
wow!
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot of love from Celtic. I mean, a team that I mean, I don't see a lot of big names here. There's a McGregor,
But it's all you always have that one team in the Champions League that surprises you, and I think it's them this year.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
It would definitely be a fun run. I love their uniforms.
Dude, I'm there on Lazio just because of Ciro Immobile, because he's a legend.
Mhm.
So I'm rooting for basically.
So for this one,
They also just beat Inter. But I'm sorry to interrupt you. They also just beat Inter.
You're good. So for Group E, I got Atleti, Feyenoord, Lazio, Celtic. So
Wow.
Feyenoord, this is a team that they made a lot of noise last year in the Europa League, and if I didn't get it wrong, yeah, I think they won the league last year. Let me go ahead and check it here. Yeah, they won the league last year with 82 points. PSV came in second, so they came up head to head and they came out on top versus Ajax, which is the team we all know from the Netherlands, the team that's always representing the Netherlands in the Champions League. Feyenoord, watch out for them. They did start a little bit slow. 2 wins, 2 draws, 8 points right now in their respective league.
I forgot they had 17 minutes. I completely forgot about 17 minutes.
But yeah, Matt, don't sleep on Feyenoord.
I forgot about him.
I'll tell you this. This is not even me being a Madrid homer. But don't be surprised if Atleti find themselves in trouble because Lazio's not a bad team either. And just this past weekend, Lazio gave the business to Napoli, and Lazio was
That's my man.
They were winless, and going up against Napoli, a juggernaut, and they absolutely did. I wouldn't say destroyed them, but they did give them the business, and it was a fair dominant win. Moving on to Group F. Oh my goodness, Group. I'm gonna pass out. Group. Group F. I'll talk about.
Pick your poison.
I mean, Homiee, you start us off with this.
Okay. I'm gonna go from bottom top. 4th place, I got Dortmund. They have looked awful in the Bundesliga so far this season to start out, and I just don't trust their youngsters to carry them like they think they're going to carry them. 3rd place, I have Newcastle. I think they're just not. They don't have that step forward to be a top team. And then I have PSG 2nd and AC Milan to top the group. I think experience from AC Milan is going to help them. And then the new players for PSG are going to have time to gel together. But literally, any of those teams can switch.
I had the exact same thing.
Wow.
I had Milan winning the group. PSG 2nd, Newcastle, and then Dortmund. I'm telling you, they call these. There's always one group of death. This one is not a group of death. This is the group of Satan. This is Satan looking over Champions League draw, going, "Fuck all of you. This one's gonna be the one you want to watch." So I apologize to the viewers for flicking off the camera.
So
Hey, watch out for our fans, man. You gotta be respectful of our fans, man. Yo, that's offside. Yo, pull it up. That's offside.
that's
That's
hella
offside, man.
just put the bird right in our viewers' dinner. Anyhow, yeah. So this group will actually kick off the entire competition September 16th. If I'm not mistaken, is gonna be AC Milan versus Newcastle. Homie, you can fact check me on that. But the way I got this group running down, I got Milan first, topping it because history weighs in this competition. Second, I got Newcastle.
Wow.
I got Tonali. Newcastle's going to be a force this season. They started off a bit shaky, but remember my words when I say Tonali's a great addition to that midfield. And just by matchup versus PSG and versus Dortmund, I love Newcastle for these games. Third, I got PSG. PSG, I see them as a lot of hype. They've been a lot of hype the last few years. There's tension inside the building. There's a lot of distractions outside the building. A lot of rumors, a lot of media, a lot of talk, there's just too much going on. It doesn't feel like a football club. It feels like a reality show. And for that reason, I see them dropping points versus Dortmund, dropping points versus Newcastle, dropping points versus Milan. Maybe not in losses, but in draws. And with that taking place, I got them taking third, with obviously Borussia Dortmund taking fourth. And if Borussia Dortmund was even in a bit of form, I would have had them in third place over PSG, because I think this is the year PSG lets a lot of people down. And that's all I got to say about that.
The agendas that'll be run if PSG are in the Europa League are going to be crazy.
It's going to be wild.
The agendas. Bro, the amount of people that hate PSG because of the treatment of Messi from the Ultras and the club and the Ultras of treatment of Neymar. Two of the most beloved of players in the world.
The downfall of Man United and the downfall of PSG would feed villages.
It's going to feed generations of villages.
It would feed all of the villages for Kevin. But anyhow, let's move over to Group G. The Super Cupcake Group. This is the Super Winnie Hut Jr. Group. We have Man City, RB Leipzig, Young Boys, and then...
It's Red Star Belgrade. That's the translation.
All right. Estrella Roja is what I had heard something. Yeah, Red Star, whatever. So yeah, they're from Serbia. For this one, I mean, I think we can all agree it's going to be Man City, RB Leipzig, and then probably Young Boys, and then
That's going to be permanently Young Boys pretty hard.
Yeah. So then Group H, half cupcake group. We got Barcelona, Porto, Shakhtar, Royal. For me, I mean, just as I read it off, I got Barcelona up top, coming with Porto second, and then Shakhtar third.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
The memes, if Barca somehow choke, is going to be... I won't come onto the show if we choke this week. I will.
You have to.
Resignation letter. I will
Nope.
quit and go bury myself in a grave.
You see me, a Chelsea fan, coming on, getting all this shit. You can do it too.
Hey, you won the Champions League the last 5 years. It's been closer to
Exactly. I'll give shit to the people that are in Champions League.
Homie, I mean, yeah, you've been shit all this years. I mean, what's the difference? All right. It's literally just 15. So, and you know, as a fan of a team that's been in a lot of groups with Shakhtar, sketchy team, man.
They're always sketchy. They have that one dude who just completely destroys your team.
It's always that one dude with a weird last name that just catches there and then just goes to the Premier League off a group stage like this. But anywho, that was the Champions League. We got to get into, last but not least, we're not going to be able to cover everything, but we're at least going to get into the CONMEBOL side of the CONMEBOL World Cup Qualifiers. Start off this Thursday, and man, there's a lot of games. So Thursday, it all starts off versus Paraguay versus Peru. We hope that's a good game. We'll review it when it happens. Next, we got Colombia versus Venezuela. I was really looking forward to this call, to the players that were going to get called for this matches, because you know Colombia's been going through a rebuild. They haven't been able to find their footing, and a lot of the legendary veterans from the past years have been left out of past past matchups that were pretty important for the league, especially coming up on the last World Cup. So some players that a lot of Colombia fans would recognize: Johan Mojica, Jefferson Lerma is making an appearance, James Rodriguez making his first appearance back in the national team for the first time in years. We got Jerry Mina back. We got Mateus Uribe back. Luis Diaz, which is right now the star boy for the Colombian national team. Cuadrado is coming back. Quintero is coming back. Davinson Sanchez is coming back. A lot of familiar names, and a lot of names to look out for. One of them, John Duran, who plays for Aston Villa, absolutely fantastic player if he gets some playing time. John Arias as well. John Lucumi as well. A lot of names to take away here. Santi Arias, another veteran that's coming back. And it's all going to start off at 7 p.m. versus Venezuela. I got Colombia winning this game with not dominance, but assertiveness. A nice 2-0 is what I'd like to see from the Colombian team. And then up next, we'll let Homiee take the lead on this one. We got Argentina versus Ecuador.
Yeah, we should take care of business. We're bringing up a lot of fun players. We brought up Alan Velasco from OFFSIDES. We're bringing in Thiago Almada. We're bringing Facundo Bonwanate. I always struggle with his last name. From Brighton. And then we have the usual guys like Messi, Lautaro Martinez, Enzo, McAllister, Debu, and the rest of the gang. So we should take care of business. We have a lot of fun players. Hopefully, we have a good rotation with our teams. I want to see guys like Nacho Buonanate. I want to see Velasco for sure. I want to see how Velasco plays with the selección. Yeah, he's only played a few times, and he's always come off the bench. But I want to see if we can start. I'm sure everyone's going to go to the games to go see Messi, of course. But hopefully we don't use him as much because we should save his legs still. He's already 36. He's already shows a regression even in the MLS. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. We should take care of business.
What are your thoughts on the fact that Messi said he's not playing in the World Cup in 2026?
I expected it. I said since the beginning after this World Cup, he's gonna play one more Copa America next year. Since he came to the US already, he's gonna play one more year, and that's it. He's after 2024. He may stay with the MLS club or just retire as a whole. He's completed football. He doesn't have to prove to anyone else what he's already done. So,
would you be surprised if he's like, no, I'm gonna play in the biggest World Cup ever? That's in the United States.
I'll be very. I see him in a limited role if he does make it to 2026 and it's like playing
as like a sub.
He is a sub. Like if he comes off as a sub with all the talent that we already have coming up, it'll be very clutch because he can still bring an instant impact anyway. But I don't want it to end in such a sour note. Let's say we like crash out of the World Cup like really unexpectedly when we have a lot of talent. So
yeah.
Last 20 minutes of every game, yeah, that would be kind of clutch. Just some messy magic for 20 minutes would be. We've already won a World Cup. There's nothing he's left to prove. Won everything.
Right. All right. Enough of that. One thing I would like to note for this World Cup qualifiers is that in every, we'll call it division as per se, or conference, however you want to call it. But in each table, there's going to be one or two more groups coming in, given that this World Cup is going to have 42 teams instead of 36. For the CONMEBOL, what that means is that before, at least 5 teams would make it, and one of them would have to go to the playoff. This time around, 6 teams are going to make it, and then the 7th team is going to have to go to the playoff. If you're not familiar with the CONMEBOL consists of 10 teams. And if you do the math, yes, with 6 teams being guaranteed in, that means that more than half of the division / conference / whatever you want to call it is going to be at the World Cup. Usually, a lot of people will look at that and be like, that's Mickey Mouse, that's cupcake, that's whatever you want to call it. But I'll tell you this much. Even with this table set up the way it is, there's still going to be heartbreak because out of UEFA, out of AFA, out of the Asian nations, like all the other countries, all the other continents, no division slash conference slash whatever you want to call it is more packed, more stacked than the Conmebol. Because I mean, look at the teams I'm gonna name you off right here, and out of these, there's gonna be some teams eliminated: Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Paraguay, Peru, Uruguay, Ecuador. Out of those, the only two that you can look at it and you're like, that's a little mid, is Venezuela and Bolivia. But apart from those two, every single team that I mentioned has been in the World Cup in recent years and has made noise in these World Cups in recent years. So a lot of people think it's going to be easy. It's going to be a given for a lot of teams. One or two teams are going to be very heartbroken out of not making it to this tournament. And yeah, it should be pretty fun. Last but not least, moving on to Friday, obviously we're going to have Brazil versus Chile. I mean, Brazil versus Bolivia. Sorry, Chileno.
It's okay.
I'm going to kill you like that off rip.
No.
But yeah, they should take care of that. And then last but not least, we got Uruguay versus Chile. Not Brazil versus Chile. That would have been frightening for Chileno. But
No.
Uruguay versus Chile. How do you got this one going down?
We're playing in Montevideo, so it's gonna be tough. But I know Uruguay has a new squad coming up. No Diego, no Cavani, no Suarez, but they're gonna bring up their youngsters. I see it going 1-1, a draw. Chile doesn't play that bad in Uruguay. I think they've only lost one or two of their last games over there. So I can see it going 1-1. We've got a lot of youngsters coming up. I know a lot of the guys that were on the U20 team that beat Brazil 4-0 are being called up for this team. So I'm very excited to see you got Eugenio Mena, Eric Pulgar, Alexis Sanchez might play. I don't know. Vidal, Gary Medel. No Claudio Bravo. He's done with the national team. So we're going to have new goalie, Gabriel Arias. More than likely, he's going to start in goal. Not a fan of him, but I mean, we'll see. And I think we'll give Uruguay with their brand new coach in Marcelo Bielsa, who used to coach Chile. I think it'll end up 1-1.
All right. So
I kind of agree. I agree. Do you know if Dario Osario, I think that's his last name, Dario Osario, something like that.
Yeah.
Do you know if he's been called up?
No, I haven't checked yet.
He's a wing. I don't know if y'all are playing a winger formation still. Remember y'all?
Our coach. I have to see who our coach is because we've had literally so many different coaches. We've had a Peruvian, we've had an Argentinian. I'm gonna tell you the best style of coach for Chile is a guy from Argentina. As much as I hate it, we need an Argentinian coach to coach Chile. I hate saying that, but we need an Argentinian coach.
Dude, me as a Colombian, who our best head coach in all of history was a 70-year-old Argentinian.
Yes.
I mean, ball noise, and that's the Argentinian. The only Argentinian who
Bro, most Argentinian managers are managing pickup games in the street with a rock. Those were their first manager jobs. The streets of Argentina and Cordoba, Tucumán, whoever they started playing some footy, they were in the street and they were managing their other pals and stuff and all their friends.
Yeah.
And that's pure football right there. And then we're also going to have the second matchups, but those we're going to leave them for the next time out here just because I want to see some reactions. Feelings are going to get hurt given that we do have Chile versus Colombia coming up on Tuesday, day of the recording. That might be a recording that will probably come the day after, or we'll see how we schedule that one, given that it literally comes in at 8:30, the time we record. And then, some other games that are going to be coming up. Argentina is going to take on Bolivia. Homiee, not much to say about there, but you guys do play in Bolivia, which...
Oh, fuck. It's the fucking worst. Fuck. It is the worst ever to play in Bolivia.
I thought we were at home.
At least
for people who don't understand why we're super upset that playing in Bolivia. Bolivia's stadium is how many meters above the sea level? I
don't know.
It up.
It's awful. It's awful.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. but you can never find oxygen there. It's pretty much like the Denver equivalent of South America. Uh, Everybody that lives in America knows what they say about like Denver and lack of oxygen. You even find oxygen tanks at the gas station. Similar stuff in Bolivia, except you're in a third world country and there's no oxygen tanks.
It's 3,600 feet above sea level. I mean meters. 11,000, almost 12,000 feet above sea level.
Mhm.
It's insane. And if people don't know, look up Lionel Scaloni reacting to the winner against Bolivia in like 2020, the qualifiers. The man screamed and was running towards the corner flag to celebrate with his players about winning a game in Bolivia. And this was like Bolivia was like 9th or 10th place in the qualifiers at the time. They were garbage, just playing up there, just hell.
Bolivia is never in the World Cups, but they're the team that if your team doesn't make it to the World Cup, your team probably drop points versus Bolivia.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So if y'all would have had let's do something real quick. Is who are the 6 that qualify, and then who's the 7?
Okay, we'll run it through it really quickly. So, Homiee, start us off.
So I'm gonna go Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay 3rd, Colombia 4th. I'll say Chile 5th,
Thank you.
Ecuador 6th, and the 7th place spot I'll say Peru. I think Venezuela will miss out.
All right.
Okay.
Now?
So I'm gonna go.
I think it's easier to say the 3 that are out instead of the.
Yeah, I mean, so the 3 for me that are out are Bolivia, Venezuela, and I don't think Peru makes it. I think
Paraguay make it.
I think Paraguay gets that 7th spot. Yeah.
Back in the mix. I mean,
Yeah, I see that.
Paraguay 10 years ago, they were a powerhouse.
Yeah.
For me, I'm gonna go with the spots because I'm not afraid to put myself out there in smoke. I'm gonna go Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, Peru, Chile, Uruguay, and that will be 6. The 7th, we're gonna give it to Ecuador, and then I think Venezuela.
Was that in order?
Yeah.
I'm surprised Uruguay so low because Uruguay has some solid players, dude. They have actually some.
We'll see. Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, they definitely did. They made some noise at the U21 World Cup. They got definitely some young players coming up, but then again, gotta see it in the big stage. But anywho, we're out of time here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the That's Offside podcast / show. You can check us out at the Fin Talk Sports Network. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you do all that good shit, and we'll see you next week. Peace out.
See ya.